Hello, I'm Christine and I'm the Road Safety Manager for Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue Service. We were invited along by Road Safety Great Britain to speak at this year's festival to talk about our approach to education and some of the resources we've developed recently. So I'll start with a little bit about my background and we'll look at what our road safety education looked like in the service when we first started. Then we'll look at the reason why we were invited to speak today, the development and launch of our recent road safety resources. We'll also take a look at some of the other adaptations we've made during the pandemic and how we created these to be future-proof to complement our existing delivery. And finally, I'll summarise an overview of our school delivery and how private funding has really helped to shape this. So just a little bit about my background. Following graduation and a spell in the private sector, my passion for working with young people started in 2009 as a work coach for the Department of Work and Pension. Here I specialised as an advisor for 16 to 24-year-olds who were not in employment, education or training. I joined our service in 2016, shortly after Dorset and Wiltshire services combined, and I joined as a youth intervention coordinator. I spent about 3 years delivering a youth empowerment programme for harder to reach vulnerable young people, and these included groups of young people as young as 12 and groups of young adults up to 24. And referrals will be made from all sorts of partners, such as schools and their inclusion groups, the police, probation service, and even the job centre. And within this role, I also designed and launched and delivered a new fire cadet programme for the service and sourced external sponsorship to help sustain the programme. So fast forward to late 2019 and I was successfully appointed as the Road Safety Manager, bringing with me various teaching and assessing experience and qualifications, experience of partnership working, sales and fundraising experience, and of course the best bit for me, engaging with young people. So we've been delivering Safe Drive Stay Alive for 14 years or so, forging really strong partnerships with our schools, sponsors, police, councils, and numerous other agencies and organisations. And over the years, we've adapted and changed the programme to incorporate messaging more aligned with behaviour change theory. And for some time, we've been acutely aware that this single intervention alone isn't enough to achieve behaviour change. Despite this, though, the show does continue to be extremely well received by our schools. We were really proud to report to our fire authority prior to lockdown that although Dorset is still a bit of a work in progress and we are working on our final few schools, 100% of schools in Swindon and Wiltshire attended the show in 2019 and 2020 academic year. Prior to lockdown, the only intervention we were delivering was that roadshow. But plans were already in place to develop further resources with the kind sponsorship of Arvel. And the generosity of our colleague Paul Spate at Leicester Fire and Rescue Service allowed us to develop a follow-up lesson to the Safe Drive Stay Alive show using virtual reality. So we developed SDSA 360 VR, which aims to help students identify how peer relationships can impact driving behaviours, both positively and negatively. And it also empowers students rather to with techniques to address driving behaviours they may feel uncomfortable with as a passenger to keep both themselves and others safe that they're travelling with. The lesson uses one scenario where a group of young people make poor choices and another where better decisions are made. And originally the launch for this lesson was planned for April 2020, but naturally that was delayed due to the pandemic. Looking to the future, we will be inquiring whether or not, and if so, how, some of our other partners are safely delivering interventions with the use of the VR headsets in our current climate. And if that includes any of you watching, then please do reach out and get in touch because I'd love to hear from you. Now, as well as the SDSA 360 VR, Arval UK sponsored the development of 2 national road safety lessons. Formerly known as the Times Education Supplement, TES.com is an online bank of teaching resources where these lessons can be downloaded for free by education professionals. The lessons are aligned with the PSHE programme of study, which stands for Personal, Social, Health and Economics, and it covers a whole range of life skill topics, such as financial things like money management, and relationships and things like that. We also introduce, as part of the lesson, the students to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or the UN SDGs, and that's one of the key community priorities for Arval UK. The lesson is aimed at year 7 and 8. Independent Travellers is what it is called. It's a Key Stage 3 lesson. It aims to equip students with the knowledge and skills to identify potential hazards and explain what they can do to help keep themselves safe as they start to travel more independently. Arval's funding sponsored the creation of 2 bespoke animations as part of the lesson, and with a fine balance of humour and humility, the animation invites students to identify road safety hazards that they spot during the animation and how they can reduce the risk by contemplating what measures they can put in place. And the lesson is really designed to equip learners with the transferable skill of assessing hazardous situations and using their own knowledge and problem-solving skills to reduce the possibility and impact of an adverse event occurring. And the lesson was completed and uploaded onto TES.com at the end of July, and it's actually been downloaded a total of 272 times by teachers. Now, assuming that each download will reach a class of approximately 30 students, that's a potential reach of over 8,000 students. Aimed at Year 10, Passenger Power is a Key Stage 4 lesson, which aims to empower young people to challenge risks to their personal safety as a passenger in a vehicle. Again, Arval's funding sponsored the creation of 2 short, bespoke animations as part of the lesson. And addressing common and dangerous themes such as overconfidence and mobile phone use, students are invited to consider what they would do in certain scenarios that we present to them. And the lesson is designed to equip learners with the transferable skill of problem solving and the challenging behaviour that compromises the personal safety of themselves and others. And the lesson was uploaded to TES.com in June, and this one's been downloaded 194 times nationally, with a potential reach of approximately 6,000 students. And during lockdown, we were faced with the challenge of reaching our young drivers without being able to deliver Safe Drive Stay Alive. So after consulting our schools, we set about creating what teachers referred to as live lessons. We therefore wrote and uploaded to TES 3 PSHE lessons for Key Stage 5 that teachers could deliver remotely, and of course covering the fatal fall that they would have had, the input they would have had in the live show. They were a fair bit of work, but they are future-proof. Although they were created to be delivered virtually, they can be just as easily delivered in the classroom, and now they do serve as an additional resource to the show, to really help embed lesson learning, and really drive the messages home. We've deliberately created them in a different style and with different content entirely, to be used either instead of or to complement the show. And should timetables not allow, we also included an independent learning source option using a package called Microsoft Sway. And that includes the same content but without the group discussions and the activities. Since launch in January, these resources have been downloaded nationally over 1,900 times by teaching professionals with a TES account. And again, assuming that each download will reach approximately 30 students, that's a potential reach of 57,000 students. And again, these lessons are free, and it's free to register on TES, so you're more than welcome to access and use in your communities. We'd also very much welcome your feedback, as we always look to evaluate what we do and improve. And like many of you, we collaborate with various partners to reduce serious injury and death on our roads. And as you've seen, Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue Service lead on young driver education in Dorset and Wiltshire with our partners, including police, council and NHS. They support us in a number of ways, specifically with the delivery of our roadshow. Partner members kindly offer their time to speak with our young people, and without them, we simply wouldn't have a show. But as we know, partnership working extends far wider than that, and our partners include the MOD, for whom we deliver a military equivalent called Survive the Drive, Road Safety Great Britain, who we're here with today, the RAC Foundation, Think, Break, and of course our schools. Without their participation and invaluable feedback, our delivery would stagnate, and we wouldn't have an easy route to our target audience. We also partner with all of you, of course. So our partners up and down the country, we share best practice through events such as this, social media, and portals like the NFCC Workplace. But for us, none of it would be possible without the kind help of our kind sponsors. So within Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue Service, apart from staff salaries, our road safety department is entirely externally funded. We wholly rely on the kind sponsorship from partners such as Arval UK, who have kindly given us this quote to share with you. They are critical, our sponsors, to development and the delivery of our interventions, and in return we help them to meet their corporate social responsibility objectives. As I mentioned earlier, Arval work to meet the UN SDGs, and as a large fleet company, they're able to give back to the community by funding our delivery and demonstrate working towards 3 of those 17 sustainable development goals to help achieve a better and more sustainable future for all of us. And private sponsorship really is key, and a valuable arrangement for all parties. The Hills Group in Wiltshire have recently provided us funding towards our delivery in schools, and in return we created a bespoke digital intervention for them that they could roll out to all of their HGV drivers, and it was specifically targeting the safe driving practices that they wanted to address amongst their staff. Another example is AJN Steelstock, another proud sponsor for DWFRS, and they enable us to sustain the delivery of Biker Down in Wiltshire, and the provision and maintenance of a couple of fire bikes, one of which they donated, which help us to engage with the biker community. A value for money and return on investment is unique to every organisation. So just a matter of tapping into their culture and values can really help us collaborate and move forward with delivery. So just to sum up, as a result of partnership working and specifically private funding, we've really been able to develop our delivery from one intervention, so that Safe Drive Stay Alive roadshow that you see in the middle of that flowchart there, to 7. So you've got the 4 down there with TES, the 3 on the far right hand side there, on TES, the individual PSHE lessons that we created earlier this year, and all of the other things that we managed to deliver in sponsorship with Arval. And referring back to our acknowledgement that the Safe Drive Stay Alive Roadshow alone wasn't enough, this is a very quick snapshot of what our journey looks like in secondary school, pending the release of SDSA 360 VR. And as you can see, we've really built a suite of education around our original delivery. The more regularly we can use behaviour change theory to deliver effective education, the more chance we have of empowering students with the right tools to make good choices and develop good driving practices now and for future use of our roads to come. And that's it. So hopefully that's built a picture of how we've expanded our young driver education with the help of private partnerships. We're always happy to share best practice. And if you have any further questions, please do feel free to contact me. Thank you very much.